Hey folks, Red Labor here. I hope you're having a great day. I want to talk about Hugo Chavez. It's been a while since it's been on YouTube, so I think this is probably as good a subject to touch on as any. So let me start about Hugo Chavez. He died of cancer on March 5th. And as a democratic socialist, I can say this about Hugo Chavez. I was never a fan of communism because I think that socialism and communism are two separate ideologies, and they're as different from each other as they are from capitalism. And I equally oppose capitalism and communism with equal fervor, no question. With regard to Hugo Chavez, I was a bit mixed on him, being more critical. He was democratically elected in 1998, and one must respect the democratic process. Sometimes electoral outcomes goes in directions I may not be in favor of, but one must recognize the democratic process. In spite of the actual good he was trying to do, he had enough totalitarian impulses to caution me in any critical support I could have had otherwise for him. And so let me explain this. It's one thing to be friendly with Fidel Castro, but it's entirely something different when he wants to be friendly with Mahmoud Ahmadinejad of Iran. At least with Fidel Castro, and I'm no fan of Fidel Castro, I'm no fan of the communist model in Cuba, but at least it is a left-wing secular government, and it's understandable why Hugo Chavez could identify with Castro. He's wrong. He was wrong to do so, but it's understandable, and even to the point where I could give him a free pass. And I want to have it stated that I am not a fan of Fidel Castro nor the regime in Havana. I support the Democratic Social Revolutionary Party that's located in Miami, which are critical of the Castro regime. Leftists opposed to Fidel Castro. That's who I identify with. But as I said, it's entirely something else when you're friendly with a dictatorship like Mahmoud Ahmadinejad's government of Iran, whose government is officially anti-Semitic, execute homosexuals, bully trade unions, and harass leftist parties within Iran. And because of the friendly ties with Iran, this is why, or this is what prompted me to not support Hugo Chavez at that point. So within Venezuela in the last few years, I supported progressive forces, not the right-wing forces, but actual left-wing movements that oppose Chavez. And now that he's no longer in power, I hope that Venezuela takes a road to democracy without having a right-wing movement nor the communists, either of them becoming the victor, because that would be no good. And as I said, even within Venezuela itself, Chavez tended to push around labor unions more than I could ever care for. And it's not that I'm always saying labor is a progressive force. Always, there are times they're not, but they should always be independent and respected in that matter. And so, therefore, it was just enough to feel uneasy about Chavez. But the right wing attacking Chavez as if he's like the most horrible dictator ever. He was a dictator, or he had totalitarian impulses, and he was a Fidel Castro wannabe. But even if he would have managed to turn Venezuela into another Cuba, you couldn't compare him to the killing fields, the Khmer Rouge of Cambodia, or Mao Zedong's China. It's not. He wouldn't be. I don't think it would have ever gotten to that point. But even if it's just a generic quasi-benign communist state like Cuba, it would transform itself into. That's enough to say, fuck no, because communism is a pretty bad movement, and as a democratic socialist, I oppose communism. And when I think about, just as I praise the social democratic movements in Western Europe, I do the same within Latin America. Even though some of those movements in Latin America do have a little bit of a solidarity with what Chavez was doing. Um, Again, it would be understandable from their perspective, considering the flawed nature of American foreign policy. But as I said, I'm not particularly. I was never particularly fond of Chavez as a general rule. So that's my take, folks. Take it or leave it. And feel free to comment, good, bad, indifferent. I can handle it. So whatever you got to say, just let it go. Just let it flow. Take care. Peace.